There is no one else in creation like you. There's nobody like you. And what you've come to do and what you have to offer is like no other.
Welcome everybody to the Functional Training Zones platform and the podcast, The Uncommon Connector. I'm really excited today to introduce us to Neyda Urias, and she's a certified SHRM. We're going to hear more about what that means if you don't know. And I'm telling you, we've been looking to get together for a bit. She's got so much going on. And, I'm just going to say, this lady's an entrepreneur. She's an entrepreneur. You know how some folks work for big companies or their family or they're in a trades, something. But from my short time speaking with her, with you, Neyda, you have got like business lines after business lines that do align. So that's something else we want to talk about. So I'm just going to get right into it if that's all right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So first of all, tell me what a SHRM is and a little bit about the work you do.
Yep. So SHRM, I'm SHRM CP certified. That means that I'm a certified professional in HR, and SHRM is the Society of Human Resources Management, which is a global organization for HR professionals. And I became certified, I think in 2018, I believe it was. So, and you have to maintain the certification. So you got to, take trainings, classes, even facilitate your own HR trainings that qualifies for your credits to recertify. And so, I've held that. I also have an HR bachelor's degree as well. So you can tell I'm an all-around HR girl. I love what I do. I've been in HR now for 14 years. I started as a recruiting assistant and then worked my way up, just climbed the ladder, as they say. And I was even a talent acquisition manager, talent benefits manager. And I just knew that I was ready for the next step. Unfortunately, that did not happen for me. And I decided to take my talents to my own entrepreneurship, to my own business. So here we are.
Wow. I almost said what it was before you even said it, because you started off like in a corporate background.
Yes.
Got you. May I ask what made you leave it?
To leave corporate?
Mm-hmm.
So like I just said about,
I'm just going to So I'm a recovered corporate American.
Yeah.
Yes. So I did 30 years in corporate America and branched into entrepreneurship. So I have my reasons. So I'm really always curious about why did you leave?
Yeah. No, same. I'm always intrigued when I hear someone's like, I just quit corporate. And I'm like, oh, tell me more. What happened? Yeah. It's like we just like, yeah. It's like you just have like this, just bond with that person. You're like, I totally understand.
Totally.
So the reason why I left was because I thought that I was going to be the next one in line to get a director position. The HR director at my previous company, he had resigned, and I just knew that, okay, I would be the next person. I'm going to get his position. I had been killing it all year with really everything. Even though my title was in talent, I did more than that. Like, and that's in every company that I've held. Like, I was more than just a talents person. I've also done training. I've also done employee relations, performance management, everything, you name it, except for payroll. And when that didn't happen, when I didn't get the director position, and also the pay that I got for my performance review, it was not what I expected, not for having a hell of a year. I just felt like it did not align with that. I didn't get the position. I got a half a step of a promotion. So I just felt like, it just wasn't working for me anymore. I did start applying to other jobs, but something just inside of me kept telling me, no, just quit your job, just quit your job, just quit corporate, and all in all. And so I tapped into my network, the people that I have in my network that I've known for years, people that I trust, and said, hey, look, this is my plan. I plan on leaving corporate at the end of the year. Just want to cash out all my bonus and just kind of finish the year off.
I know,
start
that's
the new
good.
year, 2024, fresh. And so people were very supportive. I had people helping me and saying, hey, I'm going to connect you to speak at this event, or to do this or that, or just connecting me with the right people. And that really helped me to just put myself out there, gain some business, and just really think, okay, maybe, yes, I could do this. Eventually, at that time, my boss would support what I was doing in the beginning, but then it was like, it's too much. Like, I was doing too much. So then it got to the point where it was like, you need to stop what you're doing. You need to slow it down, pretty much like dim my light. And it was like, you have to just focus 100% on your day job. And I felt that I didn't want to just do that. I felt like I could do both. I could work my business and then I could work my day job, but my boss just was not happy about it. And so it got to the point where I was given ultimatums. Well, you're either in or you're out. You're either in with us or you're out working on your own. What are you going to do? So after several ultimatums, I decided I was going to quit. Told my husband, he's like, just give your 2 weeks notice, like, screw them, do your own thing, just give yourself time, go on your own, and, let's see how it goes for you. And one thing I always say to everyone is, the worst thing that could ever happen to me is going back to corporate, right? To get another job. There are 26 letters in the alphabet. Going back to corporate is my plan Z. So that I'm going to try 25 different ways, 25 different times to make this work. And if it doesn't work after all those 25 times, at least I'll know that I tried, it didn't work out for me. So, okay, I got to go back to corporate. But like I said, that's not even an option at this point.
Right. And you're having success now,
Yes.
So I'm curious, like, how much time did you devote in the corporate arena before you took that third ultimatum and said, I'm cashing it?
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, I was in corporate for 14 years. I'm in my 30s, so I'm still pretty young. And some people will tell me, like, oh my gosh, if I was in my 30s and if I would have quit corporate, like, that probably would have been such a game changer in my life. And, I took the step and I don't regret it. I feel very relieved, I'm fulfilled now because I do what I want to do and what I love. And there are no barriers to my level of creativity or authenticity, because even though companies tell you, yes, talk about us, do this, do that, and be our market, our brand ambassador, they still don't want you to say too much or be too raw, too real. Mm-hmm. And so I always felt that, I was always constrained in that sense because I am a creative person. Mm-hmm. And now I don't have that. I can have free reins and do what I love to do.
So tell me about that. Like, tell me a little bit about your work.
Well, like earlier you mentioned that I do a little bit of everything, and I do.
It's like, so everybody, Neyda, she's like a buffet, but it's, like if you're vegan, you're still in the right lane,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You're not mixing like peanut butter and nails, it's like,
no.
Digest it works, you can use it. So yes, let's hear about this fuel you've got.
Yeah. Well, I'm an HR consultant. I work with small to mid-sized companies that either are in their startup phase where they need help developing processes, policies, etc. Or even if you're an established company, but maybe you need to revamp certain things or you just need the extra support. I help in all areas of HR except payroll. So that means that I'm helping you with your recruiting and hiring, your talent development, your employee relations, your benefits, administration, compliance and legal, because you got to make sure you're compliant, and just helping all those different areas. And also DEI, which I know a lot of companies now, it's a hot topic, but I help with DEI because I'm a Latina, I'm a brown girl, and I believe that is very important to represent for minorities, especially being a woman. So I'm a double minority. So I think it's very important to be able to be represented in those spaces. I also am a career coach. I work with my target audience is Black and brown women because, like I mentioned, a lot of times we are not represented in these spaces. And I just feel that being someone who has HR experience, I want to share my knowledge, my experience with other people who may not know too much, right? On like how to get this corporate job or get a professional role. Maybe we don't have those professional examples in our families. So, we don't know any better. We don't know how to get there. And so I just want to help people to be able to get the bag. That's what I say is I want to help you to collect the bigger money bag because life is so expensive nowadays and we need money. And I take that very personally. I also have a podcast where it's called Livin, La Vida, the Luxury. You can find it on all podcast platforms. And that is also geared towards first gen Black and brown women, where I'm talking about everything around careers, finances, wellness. I have some episodes alone, and then I also have other episodes where I bring on guests where they can also share their knowledge and their experiences with the audience. Because once again, I think it's very important to help other people, especially like you don't know what you don't know. And you only learn unless you hear it from someone or you see someone else doing it. So for me, it's very important to be able to help other people because I come from a background of immigrant parents. I didn't have really that figure that I can ask, hey, how can I budget? How can I use my credit? How can I do this? How can I do that? My parents were like so anti-credit cards, anti-credit. It was like, no, that's the devil. And I was just like, I grew up thinking, oh my God, you're right. So as I became an adult, I learned more and I became more financially literate. And so just really understanding more around that. And so I think it's very important to share to other minorities as well, because, it's very important for us to do so. I'm also going to become a co-host of a new podcast, which is called the Multifamily Hangout, which is everything multifamily, property management, real estate. And we're talking to business leaders, owners, executives, rising stars, just different people in the industry who are doing the damn thing and are just killing it. And I think it's important to be able just to share those experiences and just kind of also hear the different stories, different backgrounds, different experiences. So we'll be doing that with my co-host, Adrian Danila. And I'm also a speaker. I can speak at your events if needed, facilitate workshops or whatnot. So yes, that's my list of what I'm doing now.
Did everybody hear that in the back? That is a host of options that you can provide for folks, like your one-stop shop, except for payroll.
Except for payroll.
You guys handle all that part. So what I heard was, okay, we had this corporate career. We were like, oh, gotta go. In fact, they asked us.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And you took them up on it.
Yeah. Because that was my thing. I said, you know what?
Fired your boss.
You're gonna have me choose between you and me. It's always gonna be me. I'm sorry. It's gonna be me.
Yep. Get on Neyda. I heard that. So we go to school, we leave we get a great corporate job like they told us to do, right? And we got the ultimatum and we said, okay, here's your pink slip, I'm leaving. Right. And you're doing your own thing now with all that you just shared with me. But you did the 14 in corporate. How long have you been in your own business?
Career coaching, I've been now for almost 3 years. So I was doing career coaching part-time while I had my corporate job. I didn't want any of that to interfere with my job. So I really kept it very private. I barely even shared it on LinkedIn because I just didn't want any trouble with my job. And ultimately, it didn't even matter. I still got in trouble, right?
Right.
And
Found you.
For actual consulting, I've thoroughly for the last 2 months, honestly. And it was just before I quit, I had a client that I was working with part-time, but it was just like working on projects, right? They needed a handbook, they needed certain forms to be revised or created. So those are easy things that don't take out of my day job. I work those part-time, right? So I did that also for maybe like a month before I had quit. And I really didn't have too much lined up before I quit. There were some things that were in the conversation stage and things that were kind of brewing, but nothing that was set in stone yet. And I said, you know what, let me just do it. I just felt like my mental health was taking a toll from that. So I had to quit. I had to leave. I had to just focus and do my own thing and just take the leap of faith. And here I am. I'm literally booked and busy.
Wow, I love that. Okay, so really 3 years with the career coaching, and then you're adding on the others. So the other, things, services you provide, less time than 3 years, yeah?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what I love. I love it because this is a new story. They say all businesses, if you can survive 3 years, you can go the next 2, then the next 7, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're on that track. You're on a success track. But here's what I'm curious about also. Did you go to college?
Yes.
Where did you go? Tell us about that experience. What did you major in? Mm-hmm.
Well, my experience in college is very different. It's non-traditional. I didn't graduate high school and go directly to college and live on campus and live the college life. I actually was a teen mom at 15. And so, as you can probably imagine, at 15, I got to figure out how I'm going to be able to take care of this baby. I'm a child, taking care of another child, raising another child. And so, after I graduated high school, I graduated on time. After I graduated, I ended up going into the workforce. I had an accounts payables position. My nephew's mom at that time was working with a company and she helped to get me in. She was like, I know you need a job, you're graduating, you have a child, I know you need money. So I took that job and I learned very immediately that I hated working with numbers. Math is not my thing. It's just not for me. I'd rather work with people. I started looking for a job and that's how I ended up getting into HR. So I didn't find HR. HR found me.
Oh, and, you know what, Neyda? I got to say this right there in that story, everything except payroll.
Yeah.
She didn't like accounting.
No, it's not my thing. I suck at that. So like, don't ask me anything with any numbers. And so that's how I got into HR.
Yeah, and now you're moving into HR.
Yes.
You started hunting. Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so once I got into an HR position, well, I started as a recruiting assistant. The recruiter, who at that time then became my boss, she was recruiting me for another accounting position. But when we were talking, she was like, you have too much personality. How would you consider a recruiting assistant position? And history then from there just it wrote itself. And I always shout her out, Olivia Hunter. She was definitely my first mentor, a role model for me in this industry for me. And she was a Black woman and she really took me under her wing. And what I loved about my team was that we were all Black and brown women, which is kind of not heard of in a recruiting team. A lot of it is like white, maybe some Asian or whatnot, but all Black and brown, like that's like almost unheard of. But I loved my team. They took me under their wing, showed me so much. That's when I really started learning that, oh wow, I think I love this. I think I can do this. I think I want to grow and I want to make this a career. So that's when I ended up enrolling into school. I enrolled with University of Maryland, University College, and I ended up signing up for their HR classes. And I fast-tracked mine. I was working full-time and went to school full-time so I can finish my degree, because I knew that if I wanted to climb the corporate ladder, even though I had the experience and even though my skills, my talents spoke for themselves, on that paper, I still wasn't qualified, right? Because I didn't have the degree. So that's when I decided I'm going to go for the degree so I can have that. So that way I don't have anything holding me back when it comes to the promotion.
And that promotion came at, what do they say? You said a half step?
A half a promotion. Mm-hmm.
A half a promotion. And you said, look, I'm a full grown woman and I have a full grown, person that I bore into the world
and everything.
And I need to get the full promotion.
Yeah, and I'm like, I run circles around all of y'all. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I've worked with 3 people.
Yeah, you've proven yourself. So that's not an uncommon story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But what is uncommon is that at 15, you started to make some decisions and you started to listen to some people around you that cared about you and knew you. And even and family support,
Yes.
you know? So even if you didn't like the first job, it gave you some skills and probably some confidence.
Oh yeah.
To look into
Definitely.
the next steps, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So when you said you're SHRM, I'm a SHRM, right? I love that term, right? Certified Human Resources Management. Is that it? Okay, got it. So with that, is that one certification or do you have to get a bunch of them to be a SHRM?
No, it's just one certification.
Okay.
So the one that I have is just certified professional, and then there's the SCP, which is the senior certified professional. At that time in my career, I was maybe about like 8 years in, and I didn't want to go for the senior yet, so I just went for the CP.
Okay, got it. So is there another like certification that you would say is really critical for somebody to get outside of being SHRM?
Another one is a PHR. That's another certification as well for HR professionals. If you don't have the PHR or the SHRM, I mean, a lot of times they're not so much requirements, but they are a plus if you have it. Usually your degree is more of a requirement, right? Or the experience, depending on the level of the position that you're going to be applying for. But having a certification isn't so much of a degree. However, it does make you look better, more competitive, right? Because it means that you've taken the time. I mean, you've got to really take hours of studying, and then that test is like 4 hours long. And if you don't pass it, you got to pay for it to, take the test.
How much is that test? I'm curious. Sorry. Anybody who's trying to get into this type of business, what's the investment for that?
Yeah.
Certification?
Well, back when I took the test, so I first signed up for a class because you definitely want some guidance, some help for that, because it's not just one of those tests that, I know what I'm doing and I can pass the test without studying or anything. No, you really got to invest the time, the energy into it. I think I studied for about 4 months before I actually took the test. And I also had like study buddies. So I was a part of study groups because I just wanted to make sure that, I need to make sure that I know what I'm doing. And I need to understand what I was doing. Now, funny thing about me with that is that I failed my first exam and I was so bummed. I was just like, what? Like, how did I fail? I mean, I've studied and I was part of these study groups and I just knew that I was going to get it. But then I learned that with the SHRM test, you have to answer the test as how SHRM would want you to do it, right? So it wasn't like based on you and your experience and how you've handled it in the past or how you would. It was like, no, you have to understand how SHRM would handle certain situations. So for my second go round, that's what I did. And the test, if you fail it, it tells you like what areas you did not pass in. And so those are the areas that I focused on when it came to studying. And I really, like, at that point, I didn't tell nobody when I was going to take the test. I was like, I don't want to tell nobody because
block it all out.
I fail again, like, I have to be the bearer of the bad news. So it really was like tunnel vision. I was studying at home for it, but to take the class, it was, I think, like about maybe like a 2 or 3 month class. It's about like $2,000 at that time. I don't know, it's probably changed now, but this was like maybe 5 or so years ago. It was like $2,000 for the class, and then just for the test, it's like $300.
Okay. So, and if you have to take it again, there's another $300.
Yes.
Right. So I wanted to, get an idea of that because it's so important for me to want to, on this show, is to connect students, aspiring students, whether they want to be tradespeople, entrepreneurs, whatever it is, to active career professionals so they don't waste the time, talent, or tuition. So what I'm finding is people go to high school, not sure what to do.
Yeah.
Get to college, not really sure what to do. What courses, might change majors, might drop out, might come back, summer school, who knows. But,
Yep.
the pathway can be long and expensive if we
Mhm.
don't have some sort of mentorship or information prior to be aware of the career and the career path, right?
Yes.
And then people graduate college and still don't know what to do. That's
Yeah.
primarily most.
Yeah.
So when
And
you were younger, like, what was your dream? Was it to be in HR, DEI, public speaking, multifamily
no,
casting?
it was not. It was not at all. And I don't think I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I was 18. Like, I just didn't. I thought I wanted to be maybe a psychologist. I just found that very intriguing. Just dealing with people. And I've always been told that I'm like an old soul. Even as I was younger, like, people would always tell me, oh my God, like, you're so mature for your age. I mean, I had to, right? I was a mom at 15. And even before that, I really had to help with my younger brother when I was younger. Like, that's just, Latino families, they put you to work early at a very young age.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So I was literally like a mom at like 9 years old, help raise my younger brother. And so I really had to grow up. So I felt that I had to be mature. And I was the one that, like, my parents always went for like translations or anything like that. So I had to grow up. But for me, I just felt that being in HR was never something that I wanted to be in. I thought I wanted to be the psychiatrist, because people would always come to me for advice or tips, or I was always that go-to person for people, like to events and everything. So I thought, oh, I could be good at this. And then I even thought maybe I could do event planning. I like to plan events. I like to host like that. And I still love to host. Like, that's one of my favorite things to do. So I thought maybe I could get into that. So I really wasn't even sure what I wanted to do. But once I worked in HR and I really saw the value of it, at first, before getting into HR, I thought they were the bad guys. They're the people that hire you, but they fire you. And I was like, oh no, I never, like, oh my gosh, I would never want to work in HR. So that was my perspective, right, on HR. But once working in it, I saw that you actually are helping people. Like, by recruiting, you're helping people make a career change, you're helping people make more money, whatever it is. Different people are different stages in their lives, and you can help them in that way. And you can help people training and development, right? If they're growing in their careers, they love what they do, you can help them grow. Benefits, you can help them have insurance, medical insurance for their families and things like that. So, like, every single area of HR helps a person. So that's when I realized, okay, now I'm definitely going to invest my time and money into going to get my degree for HR.
That's a nice blend of, like, experience, like finding out who it is you are, right? What you gravitate towards, and what's the logical step to get more information about that thing that you want to do.
Exactly.
That's great. So what do you think is more important, experience or education?
Well, I think depends on the role, right? Now, if you want to be a doctor, I think you need education, right?
Education.
I don't want somebody cutting me open who does not know a thing.
I saw on YouTube, I can take your liver
right? No, no, thank you.
Right.
Like, same as a lawyer,
I'm a
right?
YouTube
Like,
doctor.
Right. Like, same as a lawyer. Like, I don't want somebody who doesn't know how to argue in a court, how to, make sure that I can win the case. Like, I don't want that, right? So I think depending on the role, right, the industry, I think, yes, you need a degree. So in those fields, yes, I think you need a degree. But in a field where I was working at, in property management, where you're working with people's homes and that's not rocket science, right? It doesn't take a master's degree to be an expert in the field. I think that as long as you have either the experience or even the willingness to learn, I think that those are two important things to have, because a lot of times I would rather hire people that are new to the industry. So I'd rather hire somebody who is green, maybe somebody that worked at a restaurant, right? Maybe they were a waiter, waitress, and they're dealing with customers, and working in a restaurant industry, you're dealing with all types of people that are going to be upset about their food and people that are going to be happy-go-lucky, right? So same thing it is in apartments. Like, you deal with it all. People are complaining about whatever is going on in their property or within their apartment with you. There's a lot of things that go on at apartment communities that I think that a lot of people, if you haven't worked in the industry, you may not understand it, but it is stressful. It's very stressful because you're dealing with people and you're dealing with people's homes. And so it's a very, very private, very sensitive, very confidential sort of matter. And, that's where people live. But I think that there are certain transferable skills that a person can have in that field. Same in like hospitality. If you want to work in hotels, you got to be courteous to your guests. You have to be able to make a great first impression. Hotels and residentials are very similar but different, because hotel is very transient, right? Somebody could just spend just the night and you'll never see them again, versus an apartment, they're there for a year, at least a year, and you're dealing with them on a daily basis. So I think just having those skills, or even if you don't have the skills, you don't have the experience, just the willingness to learn,
there it is.
That's going to put you there.
That makes so much sense. So we're coming up to the end, so I'm just do a quick rapid fire round.
Okay.
So to do everything that you're doing at the level you're doing it and the speed at which you're doing it, there's mentorship that happens. But and I know you go to a lot of events to get skilled and keep your personal development up. But is there anybody that you read or quote that you love that helps push you through?
So one of the people that actually inspired me to even think about quitting my job, because quitting my job was never, ever part of my plan. Like, I wanted to grow old in corporate and retire. Janice Torres, she has a podcast, Yo Quiero Dinero, where she's also a Latina, and she also speaks to minorities. And when it comes to finances and also how to elevate your finances, your careers and such. So she was definitely someone that I still listen to this day. She's just very inspiring. And also the Millionaire Mindset podcast. That's another one too. It's a couple with Deanna and Xavier, and they also just are very inspiring, and they bring the people on that are very inspiring, that are doing a lot of big things. And so for me, I always look up to people like that.
That's amazing. Okay, that's great. So we've got to end. It's just gone by so quickly, but I want people to know where they can find you.
Yes, connect with me on LinkedIn, Neyda Urias. I'm on there. You'll catch me there every day. Also, feel free to check out Elevate Your Career or elevateyourhr.com. Remember, it's either for career coaching or HR consulting. You can reach out to me via email at hello@elevateyourhr.com.
Wonderful. How are businesses and companies and missions like Functional Training Zone important to the marketplace, to people that are looking for their next career? How do you see Functional Training Zone fitting?
Oh yeah, first of all, I love what you guys are doing. When I read up on about what Functional Training Zone does and just the trainings, I see myself as those young adults, right, who are taking those training courses through FTZ, because I was one of those people. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And it wasn't until I was in that position that I really understood what was my calling. And so I believe that what you all are doing is great. It's amazing. I wish I had an FTZ when I was growing up, to really say, hey, like, let's just kind of give you some exposure, or let's, just so you can get some knowledge or some experience. If I would have had an FTZ around when I was growing up, when I was figuring out my career path, I think probably would have saved me so much from, just going into jobs that just were not in line with my passion and my calling. So I believe that you guys are doing great things, and, looking forward to being part of those amazing things with you all too.
Oh, thank you so much. You're already part of the family.
Yeah.
The FTZ family. We're going to be with each other online, and I'd love to have you back in, maybe in the next 6 or 7 months, and just see where you are. Because I love these new early days of a business, like those next 7 months, 6 months are going to be so critical and will change.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you're super successful. I love your energy. I want to thank you for coming on the Uncommon Connector.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
The most valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
It's your boy JR dropping them beats.